Monday to Sunday, daily at 8:30 p.m. only on DD India.
Hello and welcome to this edition of News on the Hour. I'm Rukma with you, and over the next 60 minutes we'll be playing out all the top stories, whether it's sports as far as the Tokyo Olympics are concerned, business, news on health, all the COVID updates, international stories and national updates as well. But first, here are the headlines. Indian players shine at Tokyo 2020. Boxer Lovlina Borgohain storms into semi-finals. Beats former world champion from Taipei 4-1. Ensures second medal for India. Archer Deepika Kumari too enters quarterfinals. India's COVID-19 vaccination coverage crosses 45 crores. Nearly 47 lakh vaccine doses administered yesterday. Till 7 p.m., CDS-CU expert panel recommends not to study on mixing doses of COVID vaccines, Covaxin and Covishield. Kerala records more than 22,000 new infections in a day. Bangladesh reports a second highest single-day COVID-19 infections as the country enters its 7th day of strict lockdown. Government lowers vaccination age to 25 years. Meanwhile, more than 12,000 Rohingyas affected and 11,000 killed. And 11 killed in flash floods and landslides in the Cox's Bazar area. In cricket, Sri Lanka beat India by 7 wickets in third and final T20, win 3-match series 2-1. Hello and welcome once again, and in our top story, India's fight against COVID-19 continues. Under the largest vaccination drive in the world, India's COVID vaccine coverage has surpassed 45 crores 60 lakhs. Over 51 lakh 83,000 vaccine doses were administered on Thursday. 34 lakh 85,635 vaccine doses were administered as the first dose, and 16 lakh 97,545 vaccine doses were given as the second dose in the age group 18 to 44 years on Thursday. The total number of recovered patients of COVID-19 stood at 3 crore 7 lakh 43,972. In the last 24 hours, 42,360 patients have recovered. The recovery rate has improved to 97.38% now. India's active caseload currently stands at 4,05,155, which is 1.28% of total positive cases. The weekly positivity rate remains below 5% at 2.43%. The daily positivity rate also remains below 5% at 2.44%. COVID testing capacity substantially has been ramped up. So far, over 46 crore 46 lakhs tests have been conducted. In view of increasing COVID-19 cases in Kerala, the central government is sending an expert team of 6 members there. The team is under the leadership of Director NCDC. The central team will be giving suggestions related to COVID control to the officials of the health department of the state government. The team will also visit several affected districts. The central team will work closely with the team of the state health department and understand the ground reality as well as give necessary suggestions. The active caseload in Kerala is 1,54,000 now, which is 37% of the total active caseload of the country. Cases are increasing in Kerala at the rate of 1.41% in 7 days. On an average, 17,443 daily. COVID cases are reported in Kerala. Kerala has reported the highest positivity rate of 12.93%. 6 districts have more than 10% positivity rate. And joining us now is our correspondent Suneet from Thiruvananthapuram. Suneet, a very good morning to you. Earlier in the day when we had spoken, you gave an analysis of the situation there and how crucial it was to control COVID cases in view of the upcoming very important festival of Onam. We'd like you to reiterate for us what it's been like for the people, what the latest updates are there as far as, we believe that COVID cases are rising very rapidly despite a lockdown.
Rithma, the latest update that we can share from here is that the central team, the 6-member central team, will join Kerala Health Department today to monitor the situation, COVID situations. Since the last 3 days, the state is reporting more than 20,000 infections, COVID positive, fresh positive COVID cases since the last 3 days. And this is worrying news because Kerala is going to celebrate the Onam holidays, going for the Onam holidays. Definitely, more people would gather in cities. They would definitely come for shopping, and also the traders and the shop owners are already asking the government to open up the shops and ease the restrictions, because they have been suffering severe financial crisis in the last 2-3 months because of the shutdown. So the government has two options: either to ease the restrictions or make everything strict. Because last time the government has got a severe warning from the Supreme Court for easing the COVID restrictions for Bakrid holidays. So I suppose there wouldn't be any ease in COVID restrictions in the coming weeks. Because yesterday, while talking to the media, our health minister Veena George has already told that there wouldn't be any restrictions. I mean, there wouldn't be any strict restrictions on the coming days. But the people should stay calm and try to avoid gatherings.
Right, Suneet. When we talk about restrictions here, does it mean that all transportation, all business transactions, all all kind of offices, everything is shut?
Rithma, even though there is even the strict restriction is on, public transport and beverages and also most of the shops are open in every part of the Kerala. Nowadays, the Kerala is considering the lockdown places under 4 categories: A, B, C, D. That depends upon the test positivity rate. Nowadays it's comparing with it's calculating locally.
Which are the areas that the central team is expected to visit? We believe that there are particular districts where the positivity rate is much more than others. They are being regarded as topmost priority as far as further measures are concerned.
Major districts are Malappuram, Ernakulam, Calicut, Thrissur and Palakkad. Yesterday, the Malappuram district has around more than 3,000 fresh COVID cases, and these are the 6 districts that has high positivity rate also. So the central team and the state team will visit all these places, all these districts, and monitoring the situations from today onwards.
Right, many thanks to you, Suneet, for joining us and for giving us those updates. And moving on, an expert committee of the Central Drugs Standard Control Organization on Thursday recommended conduction of a study on mixing doses of Covishield and Covaxin vaccines. The application to carry out a study on mixing doses of Covishield and Covaxin was submitted by Christian Medical College, Vellore. While discussing the application, the expert panel recommended that CMC should conduct clinical trials on this. According to the Himachal Pradesh Disaster Management Authority, a total of 204 people, including locals and tourists, stranded in different locations in the Lahaul-Spiti district. District administration has provided food and shelter to the stranded tourists. Meanwhile, Manali-Leh National Highway has been restored for vehicular movement late last evening. Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Jairam Thakur said that the state government is making every possible effort to rescue the stranded tourists. The Chief Minister added that helicopters could be deployed for the task if weather conditions permit.
वहाँ पर ये भी मालूम पड़ा हमको कि 4 पुल जो है थोड़ा जो डैमेज हुए हैं उसमें से 2 पुल ज़्यादा नुकसान हुआ है, पुलों का ज़्यादा नुकसान हुआ है और बाकी पुल जो है थोड़ा आंशिक रूप से उसमें जो है डैमेज हुए हैं। बाहर से आए टूरिस्ट वहाँ उदयपुर वैली में कुछ जगह फंसे हुए हैं जिनकी एग्जैक्ट संख्या जो है वो 100 के करीब मानी जा रही है। उनको रेस्क्यू करने के लिए उनको एक जगह है, सुरक्षित है। मेरी बात भी आज कुछ टूरिस्ट से हुई है, फोन पे बात हुआ है। बात करने के बाद हमने उनको कहा कि आप सुरक्षित जहाँ भी है वहीं रहें। और ऐसी सूरत में अगर मौसम ने साथ दिया तो हम उनको रेस्क्यू करने के लिए हेलीकॉप्टर का इस्तेमाल करेंगे।
And joining us now is our correspondent Nandini Mittal. Nandini, earlier in the day when we spoke, you said that the state government could actually consider deploying helicopters. That's what Chief Minister Jairam Thakur had said, if the weather permits. First of all, give us an update on the weather.
Actually, the weather in Lahore Spiti is clear, but the helicopter is stranded in Mandi district, which is experiencing heavy rainfall since morning. So the possibility to evacuate tourists from Lahore Spiti seems to be a little grim, but the administration is trying its best to evacuate people by putting alternative bridge or temporary bridge with the help of fire brigades. As per our correspondent, around 221 people are stranded in Lahore Valley.
Nearly 200 people stranded in Lahore Valley. The roads there, we believe, the roads leading to perhaps Shimla, can we say, or to the mainland, to lower reaches, are very treacherous. Also, many of the bridges there have been damaged because of the weather. Is that true? What details can you give us regarding this?
As Chief Minister said that around 4 bridges have been damaged due to this flash flood and weather condition. They are trying. Yesterday also they evacuated around 60 people with the help of fire brigade. Today also they are thinking on same line, as it is not possible right now to evacuate people by helicopter. The administration has assured the tourists and all people who are stranded in Lahore Valley that they will be evacuated. Presently, they have been kept at safe places. They have been provided with all facilities like food, etc. So there is nothing to be panic about. The administration is trying its best to evacuate people, and we believe that till evening, many of them will be evacuated.
Meanwhile, give us a general sense of the situation in Himachal Pradesh. Like you said, in Lahore Spiti, there have been flash floods, damage to property, damage to bridges, communication lines broken in certain areas, and the inclement weather continues. So, an overview of the havoc that the weather has had on the entire state.
Rukma, if we talk about whole Himachal, then Sirmaur district is also experiencing heavy rain. Mandi is also experiencing heavy rain, and due to landslide in that region, the national highway between Chandigarh and Manali is being the traffic between these Mandi and Manali is being hampered again and again. Today morning, the road was blocked due to landslide at Mandi, but that was cleared by the administration by deploying the heavy machinery. The situation is not very conducive, we say, because all this region, particularly Lahore Spiti, then tribal area of Kinnaur, upper area of Shimla, they are experiencing heavy rain, and the mountains are also coming down, hampering the traffic, etc.
So Nandini, well, not a very correct time to choose to go to Himachal Pradesh, beautiful though it is during this season, and well, who knows it better than our more than nearly 200 tourists who are stranded in Lahaul Spiti. We wish them all the best, and well, the government and all rescue workers telling them, assuring them not to panic. But Nandini, when we talk about any alerts by the IMD, as far as Himachal is concerned, cloudbursts, for example, happened that day, totally unexpected. And also your comments on the fact of selecting this particular time, the rainy season, and that too when the COVID pandemic is like, you know, there is a lull in a number of cases, but the state government continuously issuing alerts regarding that and precautions. Not a very correct time.
It has been sounded by the government of Himachal Pradesh that all people who are visiting Himachal should restrain or plan after few days. But we may say that only these areas who are far-flung areas, it is dangerous to travel on those sites. But presently, as Shimla, Dharamshala, and other beautiful places in Himachal Pradesh, tourists are still coming in large number to these places, and it is very safe. If you don't travel while it's raining or there is the visibility is clear, then it is very safe to travel in Himachal. Though there are some instances that accidents do happen in this season, but we are welcoming, and government is also welcoming all the tourists who want to visit Himachal, but they should take all precautions.
Right, Nandini, we'll have to leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining us and for those very detailed inputs that you gave us. Meanwhile, in Jammu and Kashmir, rescue operations are underway in Hunzar village of Kishtwar in Jammu. Despite bad weather, 3 helicopters of the Indian Air Force, 1 each from Jammu, Udhampur and Srinagar, are being utilized for airlifting SDRF, NDRF teams to Kishtwar. Simultaneously, evacuation of critically injured people is being undertaken from Sondar to Kishtwar. The helicopters flew a total of 8 sorties, transferring relief loads of 2,250 kgs, 44 NDRF, SDRF personnel for medical assistance, and evaluation of 2 stretcher patients from Sondar. And very heartening news coming in from Tokyo. Boxer Lovlina Borgohain has stormed into the semi-finals of the women's welterweight category. By virtue of reaching the last 4, she secures a medal for India. She won her bout 4-1. And while talking to DD India, Lovlina's father Tiken Borgohain said that the government had a big contribution towards Lovlina's success. She was able to achieve this position, he said, only because of the facilities provided by the Sports Ministry and the Sports Authority of India.
बाहर में किया है, इंटरनेशनल जो गेम खेला है सब तो हम लोग घर से नहीं देते, वो सरकार देते थे और फेडरेशन देते थे, और इस उम्मीद से मैं बोल रहा हूँ, जो जितने हैं उनकी पीछे सबको मैं बधाई देना चाहती हूँ.
Tiken Borgohain further said that he has never differentiated between his son and daughter, as both were equal in his eyes, and he believes, he says, that if daughters get a chance to play and follow their dreams, they can touch great heights.
लड़का और लड़की कोई फर्क नहीं है, जो देश के लिए जो मेहनत करेंगे उसका फल उनको मिलेंगे जरूर. अभी मेरे बेटी लवलीना के लिए मैं यही कहूँगी, तुम अच्छा से खेलो, फाइनल तक जाओ और फाइनल में गोल्ड मेडल जीतकर देश के लिए देशवासियों को गौरवान्वित करो.
And joining us now is our correspondent Ashok Martholia, who's following all the updates from the Olympics in detail. Ashok, we meet once again. We're talking about Lovlina's performance, totally expected and a great achievement for Indian boxing.
When Lovlina fought her first bout against a German opponent, she was a very experienced opponent, and that was the way she fought against her German opponent and the way she won that first bout, and that itself shows that how caliber she has. And today she came with a right mindset, with right attitude on the ring, and she just won the match against a very tough opponent, because in 2018 Lovlina in 2018 World Championship, which was held in Delhi, she lost semi-final bout against her. But today she was very prepared, and she was very confident, in fact, when she got into the ring. So I think that now it remains to be seen how she perform in the upcoming matches against very tough opponent in semi-final, that from the boxer from Turkey. So all in all, Lovlina Borgohain did a fantastic job. She did very well, and we were definitely expecting medal from her, but she made it this time. And now it remains to be seen whether she is able to change the color of that medal, because she has assured bronze medal. Now she will fight for the silver medal and gold medal. So it remains to be seen how she perform in the upcoming matches. But she just made the country proud, and with her performance.
Right, Ashok, you've been studying our boxers, our contenders for medals. Lovlina clearly figuring on that list. What do analysts say about her special abilities? What is it that gives her that edge and has given her that edge so far?
Well, Rukma, the first advantage is her height. She is 5'11", close to 6 feet, and her reach is very far, and her counter attack is very fast. So I think these two main advantages she had, and she defeated her opponent. She is from the second athlete from the Northeast, Mirabai Chanu. She won silver for India, and now again the lady from Northeast. So Rukma, the whole Northeast, the government of India, the size also providing the facilities over there. We have seen two center of excellence in Northeast. One is Assam, and other is in Imphal. So the local talent, they are coming there, like Lovlina Borgohain. She was spotted by the Sai coaches in her local area, and then she enrolled herself in the nearby Sai center, and she came from Assam to Delhi, and then she enrolled in Sonipat Sai center. So the local talent in the Northeast area, and the way the Sai is facilitating all the thing to these young athletes. So this is the thing that the Indian athletes, they are doing very well at international level. The way yesterday we have seen that Mary Kom narrowly missed her bout, but she bravely fought against her opponent. So this time, the woman athlete is more and more coming, and they are performing very well in the Olympics. Yes, there were we had some hiccups, like we could not perform in shootings. We were expecting medal from shooting, but we could not make that. But this time, the other athletes like track and field, also we have seen that Avinash Sable, he broke his own national record. So all in all, the athletes, they are performing well. But if we talk about this shooting, they really couldn't do as per we were expecting. But the other athletes, they are doing pretty well. And if in upcoming, we have a lot of other boxers, they are in the fray. So we are expecting medal from them also.
Right. And when we talk about Lovlina Borgohain, Ashok, we are also talking about one of our greatest medal hopefuls. A long journey ahead still, but well, very heartening news there. We are now joined by our correspondent Kamal Bora. Very soon we will be joined by Kamal Bora from Guwahati. Kamal, a very good morning to you. Very good news there from Tokyo. Our very own Lovlina Borgohain, a great inspiration to young sports stars there.
Indeed, her story is an inspiration for the whole state, the whole Northeast region, for the whole country. The way she fought today and the way she was showing her confidence and her technical expertise. So it shows that, you know, if you are determined, if you are focused in something, definitely success will be in your hand. And this has been proved once again by Lovlina. And see, the first girl who has been qualified for Olympic from this state, and in his maiden journey itself, she achieved such a huge, medal for the whole country. So it's a huge achievement for the whole, not for her only, for the whole country itself, for the whole state itself. And she is going to definitely inspire other girls also who want to join boxing as their own career. We saw Sip Thapa when he came out. Then we have seen that other people also are tending to join boxing as a career. And this time we have seen a girl from the state who has joined boxing and have been successful to achieve such a huge thing for the whole country. Definitely, it's going to inspire a lot. And definitely, the way the state government is trying to make Guwahati or Assam state sports capital. Definitely in that directions the government has been working since 2016, and maybe this is a result of that effort also. And the way the Lovlina kept herself focused in this sport, and we have, because of that only today we have been successful to achieve this laurel in the country.
And we believe that we've secured a medal for India with Lovlina's feat. Her next opponent is, of course, we have to wait and watch how she fares with her Turkish opponent. That's what our correspondent Ashok Martolia was saying. Earlier in the day, when we were speaking with Lovlina's father, he has given a lot of credit to the government and to the Sports Authority of India, particularly to the 2 new sports centers in the Northeast. Also, clearly, the Khelo India Games have made a big difference as far as our sportsmen and women are concerned.
Definitely, the way we have to thank Prime Minister Narendra Modi also, the way he is emphasizing on overall development for the whole northeastern state. Sports is also one sector where the state government and the central government has been emphasizing since since they came into power. And because from that time itself, we have seen some transformation in the region. And today we are reaping the benefit out of that. And we have seen that when Sarvanda Sundar's BJP government came into power in 2016, from that time itself, he vowed to make Guwahati, make Assam a sports capital, and they were emphasizing a lot, and they put lots of effort to encourage sports persons, to develop this sports sector. And we have seen that every possible support is being provided by state government to each and every sports personality, whether it is boxing, whether it is weightlifting, whether it is other sports. So everywhere government is trying to put effort. Because of that, I think because of that only, Lovlina's father today is quite grateful to the state government as well as central government also. And we have to say one more thing, that if we see Lovlina's family background, their family is quite they're quite enthusiastic about sports. As when they were small, since then only the parents are inspiring them to take sports as their career. And Lovlina, who took kickboxing as her career initially, but later on she shifted to boxing. And the way she is determined, she has determined herself, and she has kept herself focused in this sport. Today we have been successful to achieve this big thing in Olympic for the whole country. Rukma.
Well, many thanks, Kamal, for joining us there and for your inputs. And now here in the bulletin, we go across once again to our correspondent Ashok Martolia. Ashok, when we talk about, we were just talking with Kamal Bora, how Lovlina's achievement is a source of inspiration for young sports contenders in every part of India, particularly in the Northeast. And Lovlina's father also told us how the government's encouragement has meant so much to her career. take us through what it means, you know, the kind of inspiration that Deepika Kumari or Lovlina Borgohain right now, you know, she could be, the trendsetters that they could be for the entire country, and you know how that stage has been set by the various initiatives of the government and the government's focus on sports recently.
Yes, Rukma, you know, the talent in Northeast that was identified, but you know the government and all the people who are associated with the sports, they were not really able to tap those talent. But this time the government and the SAI is also focusing upon Northeast, and they are catching the young athletes from there, and they are scouting the young talent from Northeast and getting them to the SAI center, nearby SAI center, and training them, giving them the right coach and nutrition, all that facilities providing the SAI. So I think this is a good gesture by the SAI and Government of India and Sports Ministry, that they are identifying the real talent which actually lies in the village area and rural areas. You know, India is like 65% the people, the young talent, they are actually in the rural areas. But previously we have seen that most of the infrastructure, they are in the cities. But this time we are witnessing that the infrastructure, the rural infrastructure is also developing, increasing day by day, and there are a lot of playground, there are a lot of SAI centers across the rural areas. So I think that is the main reason that the young athletes and the people from the Northeast and from the rural areas, they are coming into the mainstream and going to the Olympic. You know, if we talk about Lovlina's journey, it was very heart-wrenching story. You must have just seen that her father, who was just standing on the under the bamboo, house. You know, so she belongs to a very poor family, but because of the support of the government and SAI, and they provided facilities to these people, that's why they are able to make, in a such big, and participating in Olympic is not a very joke. You know, it takes a lot of sweat and hard work. So Lovlina definitely, by doing her the way she assured the bronze medal, maybe she will win silver or gold medal. But this win definitely will, most of the young people from the Northeast, they will follow boxing and other sports in order to achieve laurel for the country.
Right, Ashok, you've put it so well. The government clearly stepping in. And Lovlina's success is actually the fruit of an entire change in mindset of how sports can make and build lives, of how sports can make a huge difference, catapult youngsters, from can we say lives of obscurity and onto the national and even the international stage. Many thanks to you, Ashok, for joining us. And we move on now in sports in Tokyo 2020. Once again, women's world #1 archer Deepika Kumari has booked a spot in the quarterfinals, beating Xenia Perova of Russian Olympic Committee 6-5 following a shoot-off. And Deepika Kumari there, she built on her fine form and sealed her win against ROC'S Xenia Perova. It was the women's archery individual 1x8 tournament. And she also defeated the United States' Jennifer Muccino Fernandez. Deepika Kumari won the first round in the women's individual archery event, defeating Bhutan's Karna at the Games. Ace archer Deepika Kumari has won 3 gold medals in the World Cup Stage 3. This was in Paris, and she jumped to the #1 spot in RECURVE women's individual world rankings. And today she built on her fine form and defeated the ROC'S Xenia Perova in the women's archery individual 1x8 eliminations. And India's steeplechase athlete Avinash Sable created a new national record in the men's 3,000-meter steeplechase event in his heat to finish 7th in the Tokyo Games. He broke his earlier national record of a little over 8 minutes. And on to other news stories, a look at today's business in Parliament. In the upper house in the Rajya Sabha, Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman will move for leave to introduce a bill to amend the Limited Liability Partnership Act 2008. Sitharaman will also introduce the Limited Liability Partnership Amendment Bill 2021. Besides, the Union Minister will introduce a Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation Amendment Bill 2021 to amend the Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation Act 1961. In the lower house, in the Lok Sabha, Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh is likely to make a statement regarding the status of implementation of the recommendations contained in the 344th report of the Standing Committee on Science and Technology, Environment, Forests and Climate Change on Demands for Grants 2021-22 pertaining to Department of Science and Technology, Ministry of Science and Technology. Other important bills will also be introduced in the Lok Sabha. Union Minister Bhupender Yadav will introduce the Commission for Air Quality Management in the National Capital Region and Adjoining Areas Bill 2021. He will also table an explanatory statement showing reasons for immediate legislation. In another important legislation, the General Insurance Business Nationalization Amendment Bill 2021 will be introduced by the Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. The Lok Sabha is likely to witness discussions on the situation arising out of COVID-19 pandemic in the country and various aspects related to it under Rule 193. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has invited everyone to contribute their inputs for the Independence Day speech. He says he will pick up some of the ideas in his speech on the 15th of August. Over the last few years, PM Modi has directly invited ideas and suggestions from all for Independence Day. On 15th August every year, the Prime Minister addresses from the ramparts of the Red Fort and lays out the government's programs and policies. The Prime Minister's office, the PMO, has said thoughts of citizens will reverberate from the ramparts of the Red Fort and people can share their ideas and suggestions on citizen engagement platform MyGov. And India is conscious of the need to prioritize institution building as part of its global peace building efforts. And these efforts are focused on extensive development partnership with developing countries in Asia and Africa. Counselor for India's permanent mission to the UN, Prateek Mathur, said at the UNGA debate on peace building and sustaining peace on Thursday, India has solidly committed to assisting the UN in the maintenance of international peace and security for UN peacekeeping for decades, its history tracing back to the 1950s. India has contributed nearly 1,95,000 troops, the largest from any country, and eminent force commanders to the UN peacekeeping missions.
India is conscious of the need to prioritize institution building, in particular governance structures, to strengthen institutional capacity and the rule of law, taking into account the views of the host government. Consequently, these need to be the building blocks on which peace building should rest. India, through its extensive development partnerships with developing countries, particularly in Africa and Asia, has always played a constructive and significant role in the context of peace building.
And the Indian Railways will transport its third oxygen express with 200 metric tons of liquid medical oxygen in 10 containers from Tata in Chakradharpur division under Southeastern Railway to Benapole in Bangladesh. The containers will significantly augment reserves of LMO in that country. Earlier, the first oxygen express train with 200 metric tons of LMO arrived in Bangladesh on the 24th of July. The second oxygen express train with 200 metric tons of LMO left India for Bangladesh on Tuesday. Meanwhile, Bangladesh has reported its second highest single-day COVID-19 cases in the country, even as the government lowered the vaccination age to 25 years. A total of 15,271 new corona-positive cases were detected on Thursday, taking the total number of those infected to over 12,26,000. Bangladesh entered the 8th day of the strict lockdown today. And we now get you updates on COVID-19 cases from across the world. As the world continues to battle against COVID-19, more than 19 crore 73 lakh people have tested positive for coronavirus, while the recoveries have surpassed 17 crores 84 lakhs. The deadly virus has claimed the lives of 42 lakh 13,000 people globally. The United States continues to be the worst affected by the pandemic, with more than 3 crore 55 lakh people affected so far. Over 6 lakh 28,000 deaths have been reported in the US. Britain's UN ambassador warned on Thursday that half of Myanmar's 54 million people could be infected with COVID-19 in the next 2 weeks, as Myanmar's envoy called for UN monitors to ensure an effective delivery of vaccines. Myanmar has been in chaos since the military ousted an elected government led by Aung San Suu Kyi on the 1st of February, with protests and fighting between the army and newly formed militias. The United States and Britain and others have imposed sanctions on the military rulers over the coup and repression of pro-democracy protests, in which hundreds have been killed. Myanmar state media reported on Wednesday that the military ruler is looking for greater cooperation with other countries to contain the coronavirus. Infections in the Southeast Asian country have surged since June, with 4,980 cases and 365 deaths on Wednesday.
The COVID situation is of particular concern. The coup has resulted in a near total collapse of the healthcare system, and healthcare workers are being attacked and arrested. The virus is spreading through the population very fast indeed. By some estimates, in the next 2 weeks, half of the population of Myanmar could be infected with COVID.
France has called England's
when providing humanitarian assistance. Close monitoring by the international community is essential. As such, I would like to request the United Nations, in particular the Security Council, to urgently establish a UN-led monitoring mechanism for effective COVID vaccination and smooth delivery of humanitarian assistance, as well as for leaving no one behind.
France has called England's quarantine measures for French travellers extremely discriminatory. French Europe Minister Clement Beaune has said that the measures are not based on science. England had earlier allowed fully vaccinated visitors from European countries other than France to arrive without needing to quarantine. The new measures will come into effect from next week. Meanwhile, the British government has stated that it is keeping quarantine rules for travellers from France because of the presence of the Beta variant in the country. And the coronavirus pandemic is seeming to ravage Russia right now. The country has registered an all-time high in the number of fatalities from COVID-19 being reported daily. Russia, with a population of over 14 crore 60 lakh, more than 62 lakh 82,000 cases of the disease have been reported in latest reports. The death toll from COVID in Russia stands at above 1 lakh 56,000. Israel will begin offering a third shot of the Pfizer-BioNTech COVID-19 vaccine to people aged over 60, a world's first in efforts to slow the spread of the highly contagious Delta variant. President Isaac Herzog will be the first to receive the boosted shot today. Israel was a world leader in the vaccination rollout, with many seniors getting their shots in December, January and February. But since the emergence of the Delta variant, the health ministry has twice reported a drop in the vaccine's efficacy against infection and a slight decrease in its protection against severe disease. The booster campaign, with shots administered by health maintenance organizations, will effectively turn Israel into a testing ground for a third dose before approval by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Nearly 57% of Israel's 9.3 million population has been vaccinated. Nearly 160 people are hospitalized with severe symptoms, and daily new infections have spiked to more than 2,000, up from a handful of cases per day a few months ago. Moving on, as Haiti is plunged into political turmoil after the assassination of its president Jovenel Moïse this month, one of the poorest countries in the Americas has battled the pandemic against a backdrop of scant medical resources, lack of vaccines, and simmering street violence. Haiti's health ministry reported on the 6th of July that nearly 19,400 total infections, but the numbers have not been updated since, and many experts are skeptical of them. Vaccination rates too are amongst the lowest in the world. This week, St. Luke Foundation for Haiti is scheduled to begin administering some of the country's first publicly distributed coronavirus vaccines, following a 5 lakh dose donation from the U.S. government via the COVAX global vaccine program aimed at boosting inoculations in poor countries. Peruvian President Pedro Castillo swore in for a second time in front of thousands during a symbolic ceremony. Foreign delegations and heads of state attended this ceremony, including Chilean President Sebastián Piñera and Bolivian President Luis Arce. During the event, Castillo also named Guaido Bellido, a member of his Marxist party, as Prime Minister, in an indication of the pressure likely to be brought to bear on the new head of state by the far-left party that backed him. In the United States, a raging Dixie fire has burned through swathes of Northern California as firefighters struggle to contain one of the largest wildfires in the history of the states. In Indian Falls, charred vehicles and destroyed structures were all that remained as the fire ripped through the area. It has consumed almost 2,21,000 acres, while around 23% has been contained. The conflagration in the U.S. West, marking a heavier than normal start of the wildfire season, have coincided with record-shattering heat that has baked much of the region in recent weeks and caused hundreds to die. In Turkey, rescue efforts were underway in the southern town of Bodrum, where plumes of smoke were rising in the sky as the sun set on Thursday. 3 people are reported to have died since the fires broke out on Wednesday, and over 100 others required medical attention. Hotels and villages in the area were evacuated, and in many towns along the southern coast, firefighters and civilians tried to put out the blaze from fields, trees and homes. The Turkish Minister of Agriculture said that bringing the blazes under control might take time. And hundreds of Syrian volunteers assisted Germany to deal with the most devastating floods it has undergone in 60 years. Germany, which lost at least 180 people in the flooding earlier this month, has opened its borders in 2015 to more than 1 million migrants, many of them Syrians, fleeing war and poverty. Volunteers helped to clean homes and renovate them, drawing on their experience with catastrophes in their homeland to help the country that took them in. The floods have shaken up the political agenda before a national election in September, raising uncomfortable questions about why Europe's largest economy was caught flat-footed. According to a recent survey, 2/3 of Germans believe that federal and regional policy makers should have done more to protect communities from flooding. 2 tornadoes touched down in Bucks County, Pennsylvania on Thursday, causing the roof of a car dealership to collapse and injuring several people. Authorities were responding to several reports of injuries but could not give a total number of casualties. A local newspaper has reported that more than 8,000 homes and businesses were left without power by the storm. The National Weather Services said that rain between 2.5 and 5 centimeters had fallen across the region during a short time on Thursday afternoon. It has also issued flash flood warnings in parts of Pennsylvania and New Jersey and urged motorists to stay off the roads until the heavy weather has passed. A fierce cold snap prompted snowfall in southern Brazil on Wednesday night. According to the weather forecast company, more than 30 cities in the Rio Grande do Sul state registered the phenomenon. Some states had below freezing temperatures even on Thursday. Snow is uncommon in Brazil, even in its southern region during the southern hemisphere's winter. Brazil's last blizzard was in 1957, when 4.3 feet of snow was recorded in a city in Santa Catarina state. Temperatures are expected to keep dropping with more snow possible. The Brazilian government's Met Institute says low temperatures should endure until the start of August. There may be frost in Mato Grosso do Sul in Sao Paulo, Minas Gerais and Goiás states by today. In business news, starting off with the markets, in the domestic markets, the day's trading session began flat with a positive bias amid mixed global cues. The S&P BSE Sensex was hovering around the 52,700 mark, while the Nifty 50 index was trading at around 15,800. Broader markets were in the green, with mid-cap and small-cap indices outperforming benchmark indices. And U.S. stocks ended higher on Thursday, boosted by robust U.S. earnings and forecasts, while data showed the U.S. economy was above its pre-pandemic levels. The United States economy grew solidly in the second quarter, putting the level of gross domestic product above its pre-pandemic peak, but the pace of GDP growth was slower than economists had expected. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 153.60 points, or 0.44% to 35,084.53. The S&P 500 gained 18.51 points, or 0.42% to 4,419.15. And the Nasdaq Composite added 15.68 points, or 0.11% to 14,778.26. Indonesia has become Asia's epicenter of COVID-19, facing one of the worst outbreaks, with health infrastructure of the country scrambling to save lives. Amid the crisis, a group of volunteers has been pedaling through the streets of Semarang to deliver medicines to COVID patients in home isolation. The 35-year-old Arahman Surya Atmaja is part of this volunteer group of cyclists who stop at a pharmacy to pick up medicines for those in home isolation. The country's total infections have crossed 33,31,000 with over 90,000 fatalities. In Canada, a giant hot air balloon of Dutch artist Van Gogh was inflated in a bid to promote the reopening of the immersive Van Gogh exhibit. The balloon, which stands 91 feet tall, has become a center of tourist attraction in Canada. Tourists throng not only to visit and witness the blowing of the balloon, but also the exhibition. Well, that's all we have for you. We hope you enjoyed our 1 hour of fast news and updates from across India and the world. And that's all we have for you in this edition of the news. But news and updates continue on DD India. So stay tuned and keep watching. Namaskar.